Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. It's me, Captain Logan, and joining me, as always, is my fantastic chat moderator and producer, DJ Martinez. DJ, finally, we're back. You know, it's been 2023 for a couple of weeks, but it feels like the first day of the year for me because we're finally doing the show with my name in the title. It's almost like I've been on autopilot for somebody else's channel up until now.
I mean, how else are you supposed to know whose channel it is?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't see your name in the title.
It's been difficult to be as self-aggrandizing and full of myself, honestly, without doing shows with my own name in the title as much. How have you been, buddy?
I've been great. It was a great holiday. It went by way too quick. I took a lot of time off work, and it went by way too fast. But it's been fun, man. It's been crazy. It's been a lot. We've been potty training my youngest child.
That's a little TMI. I wanted it to cut off right there. We've been potty training. Do tell. You know what? Never mind. Don't tell me about that.
We've been potty training my pet ferret. No, it was just my daughter, and it actually went really well. She was really, really, really good at it, so it wasn't even a problem.
So I gotta be honest with you. We all have to potty train our children when we have children. I would be a lot more impressed if you could potty train said ferret. That would blow my mind.
You'd be surprised with the mental capabilities of a parrot. I mean, not a parrot. Parrots can speak, but ferrets.
I thought you said parent, and I'm surprised by that all the time. Myself and others, and my own.
Oh, we're gonna have to learn how to speak to each other again. It's been so long. We can't even keep a conversation going.
I know. We should have gone through the phonemes before we started. Everybody, welcome back. Thanks a bunch for being here. If you're watching live, thanks for watching after the fact. If you're doing that, you'll be doing that later, if so. I'm clipping at the tops here. I'm making too much noise. I'm yelling too much. I got to mess with my gain. Anyway, it is episode 245 of the Captain Logan Show. We're gearing up for a 250, and I'm going to assume that we're going to do some sort of exciting landmark thing for that because we're like Todd McFarlane here, and every 50 it's got to be a big deal. So I don't know. We'll do something fun for that. I don't know what that's going to look like yet.
Just wait till we get to like 500 and we renumber and we include all the Geekvolution Tonights and all the other live shows you've ever done to get us to 500.
Legacy numbering. That's a good idea. In fact, we should legacy number based on every video that's ever been uploaded to the channel, which means when we get to, or maybe we should wait till 300 and then it'll be the Captain Logan Show number 5201, I think.
Yeah. And that'll be much easier to keep track of because YouTube keeps track of that for us. We won't have to actually count anything. It just tells you how many videos you have.
So I was excited that we're doing a show with my name in the title again, but in fact, the only reason we have my name is because DJ didn't have a chance to make the logo for the Warner Brothers / Zaslav show because... That's all we do now. I don't mean it to happen that way. It just keeps turning out that way. There's been obviously lots of random bits of interesting news here and there since the last time we saw you. If there's any of that you want to bring up that I'm not going to talk about of my own accord, feel free anytime during the show, of course, via Super Chat or pre-written question, and we'll tackle as many as possible with those. Obviously, if you leave a Super Chat, we guarantee that we'll do those. And I thought about doing DJ a multi-topic tonight and knock out a whole bunch of different things, but I figured that would take up the whole show, and I thought it would make a lot more sense if we just did a regular lead-in topic and then let people bring stuff to us as they will, because there's a number of things and some stuff that I probably haven't looked into that much, and I don't know what I'll have to say about, but feel free to bring up things. So tonight we're going to talk about the recently leaked slate of films from Warner Brothers for next year and the year after, and actually the most interesting things about that to me are some of the things that are on that list. This was a document that was not supposed to come out that did come out, so it's fair game. It's out there. We're going to talk about it. This is not rumor. It appears to be real, and watch me come back on Thursday and go, yep, none of that's real. But it all looks real legit, and it was a scan of a official piece of paper at Warner Brothers. We're all sure this is. Otherwise, I'm wasting your time, which is fine, because that's what the channel is anyway. It's waste your time illusion. So, we're going to talk about that, but the The things I'm finding most interesting, DJ, on that list are things not for 23 or 24, but things that are in development. And one project in particular that I want to get excited about, but I'm super leery about, that I've wanted for years and years and years, that I think has come up. I'm going to build up suspense. That I think has come up on the Captain Logan show before in list of things that I've always wanted adapted that has almost happened, but hasn't yet, and is apparently potentially in the pipeline. So we'll talk about that. I'm scared, but I'm also excited. We'll see what happens. But anyway,
I think I know what you're talking about. We'll see.
Yeah. Before we get into all of that, though, let me do real quick house cleaning stuff, because it is our first full week back for regular 5-night-a-week live streaming, and we're going to keep doing that, in case unless at some point I need a break for some reason, up until we get the memo, basically, of whether or not I'm still doing the channel. I'm planning to do this for as close to forever as possible, but if YouTube pulls the insane shenanigans that we found out about over the weekend, I'm not going to be able to sign a document that says that they can take money from me that I've earned already. I'm sorry, guys, I'm not doing that. So we're apparently, if you're not in the know on this, I did a stream on Sunday that was kind of my Sky is Falling stream, and I wasn't sure if I was ever making a video on this platform again, and I stand by my reasons for that, and I still feel that way. The lucky thing is I found out, and I did stream about this yesterday, that in fact, the sky is falling, but not until July. And if the insane changes to the terms of service that will allow YouTube to take back money that they have already given us and withhold it from checks and things, if that blows over and doesn't end up happening, if I don't have to sign a thing that says that, then it'll be fine and we'll continue, and if not, I'm gonna have to come up with some other plan, and I'll have the time now to figure out what exactly that is. So I am probably not going anywhere as far as the internet. Like, I wasn't sure on Sunday, honestly, what I was gonna do with myself. I will probably pivot and figure something out someplace, because I've got the time now to think about that and figure that out. But my hope is that this doesn't end up going through, and that enough people find out about this that we can, light YouTube on fire and let them know that we're not going to stand for this, because I believe it will completely wreck the platform and it'll all be over. And I know that there's a lot of bizarre things that they've tried to do in the past that have not ended up being as bad as they sounded, but I'm telling you, I don't want to be on a platform that is capable of that, and I really, really hope that we find out that they're not, or that doesn't end up happening. So I wanted to get that out of the way, because I know folks are going to ask about it, and I just wanted to mention that real quick. But anyway, so hopefully everything's going to be okay, and I know I'm not the only channel that's concerned about this and that is considering leaving if that goes through. So it's not just me. But anyway, other things going on the channel this week besides screaming into the wind at the powers that be, DJ. Tomorrow night, Austin and I, for the request, are going to be reviewing the Stargate SG-1 pilot, which I'm excited about. Somebody requested something that I actually have seen a few times before, and that's a show I've always wanted to talk about and haven't really done before on the channel. So for the 9 of you that care, it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about that. So tune in tomorrow night, 10 Central, if you have any interest in that. Thursday night, another Captain Logan show. We're going to have a special guest that night, and I have not announced who it is yet, but I'm going to do that in just a minute. I'll tell you what else is going on this week. First, though, Friday night, we're bringing back Video Game Movie Mania, finally. We're going to be doing that twice a month, every other week, and we're going to be doing a blind commentary on The Wizard, the Nintendo commercial masquerading as a film, and Jason and Brandon are both going to be on that show if all goes according to plan. So lots of excitement happening on the channel this week. The special guest, and some people called it already on Thursday. And by the way, DJ is not sure if he's going to be able to make it yet. He may or may not be there. And
I want to, though, because of the special guest.
I'm hoping so, but if it doesn't work out, we'll be okay without you, DJ, but we'll miss you, of course.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you will. He's excited. I'm not going to be there.
No, I'm not. Thursday night, Vince is coming back for the show. He's gonna do the whole 2 hours with us, and he's excited about it. He was like, "Oh, the Captain Logan show. That's like that Q&A thing you guys do, right?" I'm like, "Yep." He's like, "Oh, that sounds like fun. I'll come do one of those." So,
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that little fun little thing you guys do. Yeah, sure.
one of the things that, the quaint little show you guys do.
Yeah, you guys still doing that little job you have?
You still wasted everybody's time with Waste Your Time Evolution. Why isn't that tattoo a W with a V? So yeah, Vince is coming back, and we don't have a
Cap
plan.
was like, "Don't tempt me. I'll get another tattoo. I'll give me ideas."
Yeah, I'm not. I don't really want to get that. Would I get a Doomsvince tattoo? I'd consider a Doomsvince tattoo.
That'd be good. Just his face on
Not
on
his
your
head. You know,
Just
if we
yeah.
if we come up with a cool logo for it, or maybe like a Coke Redeemer tattoo, that'd be pretty badass. I don't know. Anyway, so we don't have really a plan for that show. Vince and I are going to just do a Q&A and let you guys direct the conversation, and we'll just kind of hang out, mess around, talk about whatever happens to come up. So it'll be a real loosey-goosey kind of show. Next week, next Thursday night, I'm going to have another guest on, and I wanted to go ahead and plug this real quick so that you guys could take a look at his channel. I'm going to bring on a newer YouTuber in the retro game space, which is a place that I kind of like to live when I'm not working, so naturally I'm going to intermingle it in with my work, but I'm going to bring on the Poor Man's Game Room. He has a really cool game room, and he does a lot of reviews and lists, and talks about collecting on a budget, and I really like his stuff, and he graciously decided to come on, and he's been watching our stuff, and so I'm excited to talk to him. He seems like a really cool guy. Yeah, a lot of people in the comments are like, "I knew it." Yeah, it's not super surprising. So one more announcement real quick, DJ. So we haven't had a lot of super chats yet, but I want to mention, in case you guys are so inclined, we're going to do a super chat goal tonight. I haven't done one of these in quite a while, and we'll go ahead and start getting right into things here in a minute so that you can start asking questions and I can get them answered. We're already 13 minutes in the show. I was like, you know what? For my Captain Logan Show New Year's resolution, I'm not going to have 15-minute preambles. All right, well.
Hey, don't give up on it yet. It can be a overtime resolution that improves over time.
Yeah, I think it's just my nature, man. I think it's that scorpion metaphor again. Like, yep, I'm gonna, I don't know, I'm gonna bite the guy, and we're both gonna sink and die just because that's my nature. Anyway.
Am I the guy that has to sync with you?
I was trying to remember the metaphor. It's not. No, it's not. It's not a guy. What is it? It's a couple of different animals that get on a scorpion.
A ferret. It's probably a ferret.
It's a potty trained ferret. It's a potty trained ferret on his way to the bathroom, going across a creek.
What is happening? We're off the rails already. 13 minutes in.
Well, anyway, let's get more off the whales. Off the scorpions.
We didn't jump the shark. We're going straight to the. We're
jumping the ferret. We're jumping the scorpion. There's a great. Pick your animal, large or small. The whale. Anyway, so another kind of resolution, I guess. Although this wasn't because of the new year. It was more because of what happened this weekend. I am endeavoring to be less concerned about what I say on camera, and just like I've always tried not to pull punches when it comes to reviewing stuff, and to speak my mind as best as I can. But as I said over the weekend, I also have kind of a natural, and I think a lot of people have this sort of social fear, where I worry about offending people and saying things that are too politically incorrect and that kind of thing. And I don't want to be offensive on purpose, obviously. And I would never do that. I would never go after somebody for beliefs, creed, skin color, whatever, obviously. But I walk on eggshells too much. This is the thing that I've realized about myself, and I'm too paranoid about this kind of thing. And there are things that I sometimes want to talk about, and like this is not me saying I'm going to pivot. We're going to be a social or political commentary channel now, DJ. But when these things have to come up to talk about the things we're talking about, I'm going to try to be less, ridiculously careful. And you might not agree with things that I say, and that's okay. I think we should be able to disagree and still get along. And it's a thing that I'm endeavoring to not be so worried about. It's going to take some time. Even right now, bringing this up, I'm tensing up. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh no, everybody's going to think that I'm a horrible person, and they're not going to like my politics or lack thereof or whatever. I'm not gonna get political on purpose a lot or anything, but I want to loosen up, and I just want to say what comes to mind. And if I piss somebody off, sorry about that, but understand that we're not always gonna agree and get along, and I just mean people in general. And like I said over the weekend, you're gonna offend people sometimes. It's just the nature of the beast. And so there's something I've been wanting to do for a long time that I always avoided, DJ, because I was kind of afraid that there'd be too much pushback, and that I would, the kind of cancel thing.
He's gonna rank his top 10 politicians.
Here no, I'm not going to do that, but it is going to be a top 10 list. So here is this is a thing that I've been threatening for a long time, and I talked about it last year, and we've had some folks in the comments that have said, "No, Cap, you should make that video. That would be really cool." If we hit the super chat goal tonight, I'm going to do this in February, and I'm curious to see if anybody takes offense to it, because I don't see what's wrong with it. I don't think it would be like racist or incorrect or anything, but. Well, and I mean, incorrect. That's also up to interpretation, right? But but this is an idea that I floated on After Dark and a couple other places that I'm finally going to do if we hit the super chat goal tonight. So if we hit, let's say, 80 tonight in super chats, if we get to an $80 goal tonight in February, I will finally do my top 10 ranked black actors video. That's the thing I've talked about doing for a long time. February is Black History Month. I'm going to do my 10 black actors video. I'm a pasty white guy who likes a lot of black actors, and I want to talk about them. Hopefully that doesn't piss off too many people. I don't understand why it would, but I've always wanted to make this video. I think it would be fun. And so that's my plan, DJ. DJ, are you offended?
Not at all. I'll watch that video. That sounds cool.
DJ
I just have to.
Offended.
I just have to start doing the conversion on Mutale's super chats because they're in ZAR, and
you know what? It's right, Robert Wild.
You're
right, Robert Wild. I did not like Paddington to deal with it. I know, really controversial opinion.
Yeah, he says nothing can be more controversial than me not liking Paddington 2.
Definitely in that way, absolutely. Oh, Mutale says that he's going to unsubscribe, and that's offensive. I'm sorry.
Well, he's already winning tonight. He's already got the biggest. He's put in 3 super chats already.
Yeah, but that's before he knew I was going to talk about black actors.
Oh, what? Wait, they're all going away. He just retracted them.
Oh,
I'm just
no,
kidding.
he didn't.
They're still here. That's why I got to figure out how to convert it to dollars, so I can figure out if we're going to make the goal.
Lewis Cox, just Anthony Mackie, right, Cap? No. Well, and I've been, let me say this too, I've been back and forth on whether it's black actors in general or voices, because part of the reason that I wanted to single out specifically, because I don't do this with very much, of course, but the reason that I've thought of this for years is there's a timbre and cadence with a lot of deeper voice black actors that just doesn't sound like any other kind of person, any other race or anything. And when I was a kid, I was always really jealous of it. I was like, man, I wish I sounded like James Earl Jones. That's cool. And well, I don't want to give away everybody on my list, but
spoiler alert.
There are in particular some, well, and pros and cons guy says especially female black actors. I mean, I think it's probably going to be a list of just male black actors, because of like a lot of it is deep, cool voices is probably what I'm looking at, but I don't know yet. It also could just be more generally actors, but I feel like if I went with black female actors, that would have to be a whole separate, there'd be too many to put. I'd have to pick 5 and 5 or something. I don't know. So anyway, it's a notion. We'll see if we get to that goal tonight, but it's a thing I've always wanted to do, and I kind of want to see if I get lit on fire for it for some reason, because I don't understand that.
$2.06 is 35 South African rand.
It took him that long to look that up.
So yeah, thanks, Mitale. We're at $6.
Lewis Cox says Michael Clark Duncan was my favorite. R.I.P. Yeah, that was really sad. I made a video when that happened.
Oh, yeah, that was a bummer.
Because I liked him so much. Anyway, okay, so we have a lead-in topic. I feel like we already did a lead-in topic.
Several.
Hey, DJ, check it out. Warner Brothers movie. Oh, my goodness. That's the wrong. That was the wrong scene.
That's what he thinks of Warner Brothers movies. There's a brick wall.
Here's tonight's lead-in topic, folks.
Talk to the wall.
It's like that. You just talk to the wall because Captain Logan does not care. This
That's what I have to say about your questions.
This is from xfire.com, whatever that is. Warner Brothers movie release schedules have been leaked. The leak includes some really big titles coming in 2023 and 2024 from the film company. Now, before we reveal what some of this is, DJ, did you look at this list?
Yes, while you were lengthy preambling a minute ago. I just looked at it.
Is there anything there that makes you go, yay, or is a lot of, or is it all like, oh, okay, or is it mostly stuff you knew about?
I don't know. It's a big mix of all of it, I guess.
Okay.
There's some stuff I didn't know about. Nothing that's really making me super excited. But nothing I'm really groaning about. It's just kind of, middle of the road.
There are some things on that list that I had not heard about, but a lot of it is stuff that we knew, but we didn't know exactly when they were coming out. And at least one thing that's coming out a lot earlier than I think a lot of us anticipated. So let's go ahead and read this down. This is talking about the DC movies that are coming out before Gunn's slate, and that is supposed to be announced sometime this month. So obviously, when and if that happens this month, that'll be the topic for the Captain Logan show that night. The leaked schedule was posted on the Movie Leaks and Rumors subreddit. It corroborates the previously reported schedules for Shazam! Fury of the Gods and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So we knew that Aquaman was going to be Christmas Day, and I forget when exactly Shazam is, but March 17, there it is. I could just read. I don't know. The other DC movies coming in 2023 are The Flash, which premieres on June 16, and Blue Beetle, August 18, which I, up until recently, had to keep reminding myself was even a thing and even happening. And, DJ, it is going to be sad if Blue Beetle is good and then has to get wiped away because of the new, Gunn DC universe. So, I guess there's a part of me that kind of hopes that that's a really, lackluster movie. Just because we're probably not going to get any more of it.
Yeah, 2023 is the weird, afterthought year.
Yeah.
Like a little tiny epilogue, and then it's all getting restarted. It's very strange. Very strange year. Well, I'm very interested to see. Someone's trying to break into my room. It's very interested to see what the numbers are going to be like on any of the DC films this year.
Well, I feel like what's happening in your house just got a lot more interesting than this news we're going to be talking about.
Well, we'll see.
I kind of want to just switch the camera over to you, full screen, and just see if somebody breaks into your house.
I would turn the camera as I beat him up. That would be good television.
Just the idea that you live in this one-room house where somebody to break into your house just winds up in your movie room.
It's funny because we've shot in several rooms in this house already.
Yeah, I know.
So that's not true, but we're gonna.
Yeah, but that was the middle picture you were giving me, even though I've been there. It's like, oh no, somebody's coming.
Anyway, my cat hurling herself at my office door.
So, of course, let's talk for just a second about the Flash elephant in the room, shall we? A lot of people have been really up in arms about the fact that Flash is still happening, and that especially Ezra Miller is kind of getting off not scot-free, but Warner Brothers, because I don't know if you've heard about this, DJ, but Ezra Miller went to finally had his court date, and he got, I feel like, kind of a slap on the wrist for all the stuff that he was indicted for. He's not having to do any jail time. Originally, it was going to be a year and a half, I think, and then he pleaded guilty, and they got it down to 90 days, and now it's just a year's community service and $500 fine. a whopping $500 for a big Hollywood actor who went.
That's like my down payment when I get in a car accident. That's nothing.
Your down payment,
or my my whatever it's called.
For somebody that went and like
deductible
broke into somebody's house and anyway. So I don't want to talk about that too much, but I do want to weigh in for a second on the Ezra Miller thing, because I do think that while I hate the idea that Ezra Miller might get to somehow still play the Flash, because there's been rumors about that. I think people are jumping the gun, are getting ahead of themselves too much on that. Austin and I talked about this today, and he had a terrific point. Basically, Warner's came out and had a list of actors that they said that they would like to work with again in the future. And they were all people in these DC movies that are about to get wiped away continuity-wise with a reboot. And that's all clearly PR stuff. It's like, we don't want people to think that these movies don't matter and are superfluous, even though they totally are. Now, maybe some of these movies will be good, and I hope they are, because I'm going to have to sit through them to review them. But obviously, Warner's, if they're going to promote movies and put them in the theater, even though they're about to get retconned, they're gonna or wiped away, I should say, with a new continuity, they're gonna make a big deal out of those movies mattering, and so they're going to pretend like there's maybe a future for some of these actors. That's what Austin said. I agree with that. I also think that that it's possible there's truth to that, considering that Warner's has gone out of their way to try to make Ezra Miller look better and make sure that he is apologizing. And I'm sure I would be surprised if they didn't have anything to do with. I don't want to be like a conspiracy person, DJ. I'd be surprised if they had nothing to do with his not having to do jail time and all of that. It would not look very good for them if he's in jail when The Flash comes out. So, like, let's not be naive about this. So I do think that it is possible that maybe they want him back for, or Gunn does, for like one more movie if they're actually doing a soft reboot that has anything to do with The Flash, because we don't know for sure what exactly that reboot's going to look like. I think it's a lot less likely, though, that they're going to ever use Ezra Miller again, and that it isn't just we're trying to make ourselves look good and let these movies look like they matter right now. But what you're hearing a lot of Snyder fans saying that hate Gunn for getting rid of Henry Cavill is, hey, this isn't fair. You fired Cavill, but you're going to hang on to Ezra Miller. And I'm like, guys, first of all, I don't think they are doing that. And second of all, it's kind of a different thing. Like, yeah, that would be really sucky, not just because Ezra Miller does not seem like a real good person, and he should at the very least have to, have some real consequences for the things that he's done. But I do think these are somewhat kind of two different issues. Like, at the end of the day, it's got to be about the stories you're telling. It's got to be about the work. So if all things were equal and Ezra Miller was not a crazy person, and you were getting rid of Henry Cavill as Superman, but you were keeping Miller as Flash, it's not like, well, we fired one guy because we didn't like him, but we hung on to the other one because we think he's a better actor. It wouldn't be that at all. It would be, these are the movies we want to make, right? So I don't know. I just wish people would look at these things a little bit more objectively, I guess. I did want to weigh in on that whole thing real quick. But anyway, so here is the slate for the next 2 years. Besides those superhero movies, it says there are other interesting movies slated for release in 2023 and 2024. Dune Part 2 will be arriving in November, a bit earlier than expected. Yeah, I didn't think we'd get that until 24. Although I would not be surprised, as huge as that movie is going to be, DJ, and the fact that we haven't heard a lot about it lately, if that doesn't get pushed back. But I hope that comes out this year.
Yeah, that's definitely the one I'm most excited for.
And that's probably the only thing on this list that I'm like, oh, I must go see that in the theater.
Mm-hmm. Dune. I'm excited. I need to watch the first one again.
Yeah, I do too. I saw it twice when it came out, but it's been a long time now. And then March 2024 is the untitled Godzilla vs. Kong sequel. I thought that actually got a title, but I guess not, because I mean, I don't remember what it is. And then the Mad Max spinoff Furiosa opens on May 24, 2024. I forgot all about that and hadn't heard anything about that in a long time. So crazy, that's finally going to happen. You would have thought after Fury Road you would have gotten something a lot quicker than this, because that was, what, 6-7 years ago now? And that movie was huge.
Yeah, it was a long time ago because George Miller just had his first movie since then that came out this year. And it's great.
Oh, what was that?
It is called 3,000 Years of Longing.
Oh, I haven't even heard about that. Okay.
Yeah, I watched it just this last week. I've been finally catching up on 2022 movies. I almost wrote the whole year off because every movie I saw in 2022 I was pretty disappointed by. But I'm actually seen some that I've liked these last couple weeks, so it's been
that's good. Yeah, I saw very few movies last year, and some good ones, but it wasn't the worst year. So 2023, I'll just go through this list real quick, and a lot of it is like things you've heard of that are either sequels or reboots of things. I'll just point out a few notable things. Oh, so we're remaking The Color Purple. Okay. I know DJ must be stoked about Wonka. We've talked about that a little bit.
I wouldn't say stoked, but
how leery are we about that? Like,
I don't know if I'm angry or excited. I'm just gonna watch it. I don't know. I'll see it. Timothée Chalamet is like an incredible actor that's in like 5 films a year, so I'm excited to see his take on it. So I don't know. It's gonna be weird and hopefully fun.
No, I hope it's fun. No, I said leery, not angry. I'm just like, everything doesn't need a prequel reimagining, and I just wish it was. If we have to do that again, I just wish it was a better remake of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or I shouldn't even say remake. I think you could go back to the well again and do a whole other interpretation that's just better than what was done with it in the 2000s with Tim Burton.
Interesting. I kind of have the opposite. Like, I think we've done it. Obviously, the 70s film was perfect and great, and if you're going to do anything with it, do something weird and do a weird. I don't know what this is. Like, is this just its own thing? Is he like the younger version of Gene Wilder? Like, What is this? I don't even know what this is. But,
yeah, because that is. I mean, Warner's does have the rights to that property, so they could, right? So they could make a prequel to that film. Is it that film? That would be weird. Is it set in like the 50s or something? Like.
I don't know. Or is it like a Bates Motel where it's like a reimagining, but still really good? Like, it could be. I don't know. I could like it. I'm not excited, but I am probably going to check that one.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I've been too burned by too many of these things. I'm in the middle of working on Power Rangers 2017 right now, and I'm having a hard time not feeling like I just don't want any more like prequel reimagining things of anything. Like, stop it with your origin stories. But you're right. I mean, it's not like it's never been done well, and I like to have a wait and see attitude and hope for the best with things. It's just. These things haven't been great lately. I'm getting more cynical about it now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, the last time I saw a good one of these was several years ago, and I feel like 2016 for me lately has been like the cutoff point where there's a lot of kinds of things that would happen before that I might have been kind of leery of, but sometimes they'd be good, and then after that, not a lot, you know. And so like ever since 2016, I'm finding myself going, I don't want that now. Maybe if you made that 10 years ago, but I don't want it now because I don't trust you. I think it's gonna be terrible. But
yeah.
Also, maybe this is just because of my perception based on things that have worked out in the past, DJ. But like when Bates Motel was announced, I was like, oh, there's no way that's good, and then it became one of my favorite shows. Right? If Wonka was a TV show, I'd be a lot more curious about it.
Yeah, and I don't want to look into what it is. I'm glad that I don't know anything about it, but
right.
Like. Is it just like a realistic take on his like life, like a biopic if you were a real person, or is it like the weird, like, is it like Batman Begins? Is it his traveling years where he's traveling around the world?
Well, see, and that could be kind of cool,
like...
but don't you feel like? But that also sounds really risky, right? Like, don't you feel like we're playing it safe by even doing properties everybody's heard of. So what's a lot more likely is that it's going to be all the trappings and the iconography that you're used to seeing, that you're familiar with, that'll get butts in the seats.
Yeah.
But it'll be a boring prequel that is probably more or less Charlie the Chocolate Factory again, except before it happens. Like, that's what you hope it isn't.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's like a journey movie. It's like him finding himself and traveling around to all these fantasy worlds. And I'm hoping it's a better version of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Him. Like,
yeah,
just
that's
do
a good
that
point.
better, Warner Brothers.
I was gonna say, but it's also the same studio, so hopefully. Anyway, other things on this list. We're remaking Salem's Lot. Of course we are. You know what? There's one other thing on this list that I'm actually, if not like super excited about, just really curious about, and that's Barbie. Everything I've seen about that looks really interesting. Like, it looks super tongue in cheek, and like they know just what they're doing with it, and it looks like that could be a really special kind of movie. And it looks like Margot Robbie is really throwing herself into that. Like, that looks potentially fun. I hope it's what it seems like it is, because if so, that's gonna be really cool.
Yeah. Connor won't shut up about how that's going to be the best movie of 2023. He's been saying it for months and months.
Yeah, he and I have talked about it. Okay, so Austin and I were laughing about this one yesterday. In 2024, Toto, the doggone amazing story of Wizard of Oz.
Okay, this I'm not excited about. What the heck is this? This sounds terrible, but it also sounds like a tiny little kids movie, so it doesn't. I don't know.
That's probably an animated kids movie.
Yeah.
But what you got to ask yourself is, wait, we're going to do another, and I'm sure 3D, right? We're going to do another, and again, I don't know for sure that's what this is, but if it is, we're going to do another 3D animated dog movie after what happened with Super Pets?
I hope this is a
crappy
animated kids movie with that title. Good Lord, that better not be like a real movie. Good grief.
Well, especially because, and I haven't looked into this deeply, but I guess like it's based on a book. So I don't know if it's like a children's book that's, in the Oz universe or whatever, but it sounds like it's got to be that story through Toto's eyes and not some other adventure, right? Like, you put The Wizard of Oz in your title and it's not something else of Oz, and it has to be that story, I would think. So Austin suggested like a Lion King 1.5 sort of thing. But
yeah, it's like a Lion King 1.5 version. Weird.
1.5, yeah. But then I don't know if it's that movie or if it's just generically Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, it says the story of the Wizard of Oz from the point of view of Dorothy's loyal companion. So this better.
That's what it sounds like.
This has got to just be like a kiddie fair, like Wizard of Oz. Because that can't be like a. Yeah, I'm not excited about that. That's also the longest, most terrible title I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's bad. Well, and apparently, they're also working on a remake of Wizard of Oz, but I assume those are not related projects. And obviously, I don't want that either. But
that's the worst idea I've ever heard. Just there's so many more books. Just make another one.
Yeah.
I mean, and do it better than Raimi, because he did a horrible job. But yeah, there's so many more. Just pick another one. You can get enough Oz visually in there to get people excited. Just do another story.
No, I think so too. And it doesn't have to be technically in the same universe as that first movie if you don't have the rights to all of that.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever seen Return to Oz? That's a wacky, weird movie.
No, I've heard that's bizarre, but I've never actually sat through it.
It's just an Oz story, and it pulls things from book 2 and book 3, and it doesn't directly relate to the original, but it's just a fun, wacky, creepy, crazy Oz movie.
Just do that.
Just do that again.
Oh, yeah, doing a. Oh, okay. You know what? Sorry, we're dumb because that actually says Warner Brothers / Animation, so that is definitely an animated movie. As is this Lord of the Rings thing they're doing, which I hadn't even noticed on this list until just now.
Yeah. So when I looked at this earlier, I saw that first. It jumped out at me, and I was like, "Oh, wow, Lord of the Rings! I'm excited about that." And then I saw that it says Warner Brothers Animation, and I looked up at the Toto thing, and I was like, "Oh gosh, same studio that's making that? That's not good." Hopefully they're completely different things.
And I don't know how long these things have been being worked on because they've got release dates, which means they've got to be like well into production. But I'm also leery of anything that comes out of Warner Brothers Animation right now because because of that recent announcement that we covered on this show where they're gutting their departments and merging them. You remember they laid off a bunch of animators, and they're gonna kind of work under one roof, and maybe that'll work out for them. I don't know, but it's just, it's hard to know what the what feels like a skeleton crew of Warner Brothers is going to be doing moving forward.
That's fascinating though. A Lord of the Rings animated War of the Rohirrim movie. That's wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why they're doing that.
Not have expected that on this list. That's crazy.
Yeah, and that it's animated. But anyway, the big thing that I want to be excited about is Captain Planet. I was shocked to see that on this list. That's at the bottom of movies in development currently that don't have dates yet.
Oh, I didn't even look at that.
Yeah, that's where some of the more interesting things are. And Wizard of Oz is in that list. That's how I know about that. I Am Legend 2 has been bandied about forever as a thing that they're talking about making. I'm surprised that's still there. Hot Wheels, which suggests that they're going to do a whole slew of movies based on Mattel products. And if Barbie works out, and is actually a lot of fun, and they're really smart with that material. Hot Wheels could also be cool, because you want that to be like a jab at Fast and the Furious, right? Like they could have a lot of fun with that.
Like Aaron Paul and Need for Speed.
Well, they should just bring Aaron Paul back, but let him do like a really jokey role. Or where they really play it straight, but he's just goofy.
Yeah. He just is a car.
Yeah, I don't know what a live action Hot Wheels movie even is. You know what I want it to be? They I don't think they'd go this far. I want it to be like Fast and the Furious meets Honey, I Shrunk the Kid. The kids
They get turned into cars?
No, they just get. It's just people that get small enough to drive Hot Wheels cars, and for some reason they run.
Oh, that happens in the third one. Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. They ride in a Hot Wheels car on a track.
Oh, but just on a track. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I am excited about Coyote, because that sounds like a really neat premise. Have you heard about that?
No.
So that's a thing that James Gunn is making that he was already working on before he got the job to run DC Studios. And it's a Looney Tunes movie about Wile E. Coyote, but it's a courtroom drama where Wile E. Coyote takes Acme to court for all the stuff that he's bought that doesn't work when he's trying to get the Roadrunner. I'm like, that's brilliant.
What? That's so weird.
That's such a great idea, though.
Wow.
So yeah,
I'm assuming that's animated too.
I want, or at least that should be entirely animated. I don't really know how. Yeah.
No,
surely,
I don't want a Sonic or a Smurfs.
No.
Or a Ridiculous.
No, I really don't want that either. Well,
you could do it with them because they've done Space Jam and Looney Tunes Back in Action, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and I was gonna say, and also going all the way back to Roger Rabbit, like if we could make. I really wish we could make movies set in the Roger Rabbit universe that aren't actually sequels to Roger Rabbit, where you just have the conceit that there is Toontown, and that's where all the cartoons come from, and then they can intermingle with humans, and you can tell any kind of story you want to in that universe where those two species coexist. Because that has almost like an X-Men thing where the Toons are kind of second-class citizens, and there's so much interesting social commentary you could do with that was like touched on a little bit in that movie. But like, I don't want more Roger Rabbit. I just want that universe. But anyway, with the Captain Planet thing, there's people coming out and complaining, and I hate using this word, but I'm just quoting what folks have said about this. And I didn't pull the article up, but there's an article that Austin sent me. Again, he and I were talking about all this yesterday, where people are worried that movie is going to be too quote-unquote woke because of the world we live in now, and that's all about like an environmental message. And I'm like, okay, but, and I know I've been using this term a lot tonight, but if we're tongue-in-cheek about it and the characters in the thing play it straight, but we're not taking ourselves too seriously, and the movie is kind of making fun of, because this is what I always wanted from Captain Planet. You do what seems like a dead serious Captain Planet movie, but you can tell that the movie itself knows how preposterous the situation is and the concept is, and you make fun of how like relentlessly in your face and extremely what's the word I'm looking for? Preachy. Captain Planet was like that's what that should be.
Yeah,
and so,
that's what Captain Planet is. It seems so weird calling that woke.
Yeah, like I feel like in its purest form, it should be that, but it should have fun with the fact that it is that. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I feel like
no one's.
You can tell the difference.
I hope they're not expecting to change hearts and minds with the Captain Planet adaptation.
Yeah.
I hope it's going to be like Barbie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, if you see that and it is super pandery, then I'll be like, okay, they don't really understand what they're making. But it's also possible that they could make that movie, and because it is Captain Planet, it works anyway. I don't know. But like, I almost don't think you can go too woke with Captain Planet.
No, it was already like that in the 90s. Like, that's what it is. This is stupid afternoon kid show.
Yeah, it's a PSA. The whole movie should just be a really obnoxious, in-your-face sort of PSA.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, it should be Avatar, but enjoyable.
Well, this just blew my mind. They're making a Them?
Yeah, they're doing a remake of Them.
Is that a remake of Them?
Yes.
That's crazy. It has to be because it has an exclamation point at the end. Wow, what a great movie. Them.
Isn't that weird?
Have you seen Them? I love Them.
Good Old Gamer says making fun of an IP always goes well with fans. Well, but I don't mean like, I don't know. It's hard to describe what I'm picturing in my head with it, but like that is material that I don't think you can adapt without kind of making fun of it. I don't mean that I would want the movie itself to be too self-reverential. Of course, you almost just make fun of the material by making it exactly what it was, I guess is what I'm saying. Because there's no taking that show seriously. Like it was way too self-serious and stuff. But that's what was funny about it. Like, there was also a weird charm about the whole thing.
Yeah, I would not want to be in charge of making that because that seems like a really hard tone to nail.
Yeah,
that's tough.
And it's DiCaprio producing it apparently.
Wow. He must have been
he's
watching
spearheading
that.
this.
He must have been a big fan back in the 90s.
No, I think the best way to do Captain Planet is to make what I think Power Rangers 2017 should have been, where you take the iconography exactly as it was. You maybe give the characters, and I mean, in that show, they were about as well-rounded as you ever got in a Saturday morning cartoon, but like, you let the characters have a little bit more dimension, make them a little bit more three-dimensional, but you just embrace the cheesiness of the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And that's how you make that.
I don't care about Captain Planet, but if this means we're one step closer to the Magic School Bus movie, I'm down.
I've always wanted to see Captain Planet done. Deaniver says DiCaprio is a huge environmentalist. Well, that means that the movie might take itself too seriously. But then, I don't know, that could work, though.
Yeah, it could be hilarious.
You could accidentally be really preachy and pandering, and this is the property where it works on multiple levels for different audiences.
Wow, that was a lot. That was a lot.
It was, yeah. I'm sorry for such a long lead-in topic, but I kind of got in the weeds a little bit with the Ezra Miller thing. Okay, DJ, is there anything else that you see there that you want to make sure that we bring up and talk about, or should we go ahead and move on?
I'm ready to move on to Super Chats if you are. I don't think there's... What the heck is Mickey 17? I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
It looks like they're remaking Ocean's 11 again. That's great. Wonderful.
I guess every 10 years they got to remake that movie.
Yeah. No, I think we covered all the stuff I was...
Wasn't there like an all-female cast remake of that, or am I thinking of something
Ocean's
else?
8. That was only like 5 years ago now.
Yeah, okay. So every 5 years. If we can't... Well, it's like the Monsterverse. If we can't get it right in the first place, just give it 3-4 years and try again.
I guess so.
Pros and cons guy, in Captain Planet, someone punches Ted Turner. Or are you just saying you want to see that in that movie? Or does that actually happen?
I mean, we're going to have to go back and rewatch the show to know all the references.
Horrid Film says that wouldn't really make it woke. Being woke would be denigrating and dismantling Captain Planet and having a new female character showing him how much better she is than him. Well, that's... I stand corrected. It'll still feel that way to people. I'm sure. Like if anything is too insanely like politically pandering, it's hard not to think that it is kind of that. But you're right. Most of the things that I've had difficulty with, where I can't think of a better word than woke, has been that kind of thing. I'm with you. Okay, DJ. Let's go ahead and get to super chats, shall we? And I want to do a couple in the next 10 minutes, and then we'll take a break at the hour.
All right. We have Mutali really.
Oh, Ocean's 8 is a prequel, says Tom. Okay.
No, it's not. I've seen it, Tom.
Is it not? Okay.
She even talks to Danny Ocean at the end of it. Mutale, ZAR, so 35 South African Rand from Mutale, which comes out to about $2.06, in case you're wondering. Are you going to rewatch Are you going to rewatch the Ant-Man films with Sarah before Quantum Mania? And if you could do a rewind on your life so far, what would you score it out of 4?
That's hilarious. It's hard to be, objective enough about your own life, and like I don't mean that I would rate myself too high. I mean I probably would not give myself any credit. You know what I mean? I'd be like,
2 out of 4. Yeah.
And like I'm comparing it to the standard. So probably like a 2.5. I'm on par with Dark Knight Rises right now, I think.
Yeah, I'm a mess story-wise, but I've got some decently directed and action scenes,
I'm absolutely a mess story-wise. So, what was the first part of that question again?
Are you going to rewatch all the Ant-Man films with
Probably
Sarah?
All of them. Probably not.
2 of them.
Sarah does really like those movies. We don't tend to go to the theater together. Sarah just does not have to have, pardon me, that instant gratification, and she's fine watching things at home. And we have 5 kids, and it's hard to get a babysitter. So we're not really going to be in a hurry. She probably won't watch it until it's out on Disney Plus. So yeah, probably not. And I don't think, DJ, I'm gonna feel the need to rewatch those movies before Quantumania, because of all of the Marvel franchises, that's probably the simplest and easiest one to just launch yourself back into. Oh yeah, I remember what happened in the sitcom. Sure.
Yeah. I don't imagine I'll be revisiting those, but I haven't revisited them ever. I've only watched them each once. Actually, I had to see the second one twice because we did it for Marvel Mania.
We did Marvel Mania, yeah. But other than that, you're like, if I had a choice, though, I like that first one.
So yeah, that was Mutale's. Second one from Mutale. Mutale is really holding the zone here. He's got another one here. Does it annoy you when you have to remind fans we're all different people when it comes to having different movie opinions? And have you seen Way of Water? He's just weaving these questions together in one sentence.
He really is. These things don't have a ton to do with each other. I don't know. I guess this one sort of could if I ended up reviewing that movie, which I'm not planning on doing. I mean, I could come to that and talk about whether I hated it or liked it, and then people might show up and be like, "Hey, you're being too hard on this, or you're supposed to like this thing," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's not how a review works. That's not how." Opinion works. We don't have to have a consensus. We don't have to all agree. We don't have to all be the same person. So to answer your first question, yeah, a little bit. I'm kind of used to it at this point. We've talked a lot on the show before about how some people seem to need people on the internet that they like to validate their opinions for them, and when they find somebody that they like because they have the same opinions, they have a difficult dealing with you when suddenly that diverges, where it's like, but what I liked about you is you're just like me, and the problem is nobody's just like you. We're all going to at some point diverge and have different interests or different ideas about things, or not agree on stuff. The point where DJ stopped being constantly nice to me and decided to actually correct me on things, I was like, oh, we're not the same person. Okay. No, I'm totally kidding. But like nobody's just like you. And you've got to, I'm gonna see, it's like he wants me to soapbox.
Set you up for this one.
I've said this 1,000 times, but I'll say it again. Man, I love being a turtle. No. If you I've lost my train of thought. We all come from different places with different experiences, and we're the person we are because of the culmination of those experiences. And you cannot expect everybody to have the same feelings that you do about things, and they might have had they lived the life you did, but they're not going to fully 100% understand why you feel the way you do about things, and vice versa, and that's okay, and that's good, and like we should have a free exchange of ideas, and communication is messy and difficult, and making people understand why you think and feel the way you do is difficult, and if only we were all telepathic, and we could just think of a feeling to a person and didn't have to put everything into words, all of this would be easier. Being a human being is clunky and obnoxious, and that's just, life ain't fair. It's just the world that we live in and what life is like, right? So when I review a thing and somebody comes back with, that's a bad take. Like, I don't know, a bad take is not having the facts on something, or being, reprehensible, or not looking at all sides and understanding a thing.
Or making your mind up before you see it.
I think Avatar sucks because I found it really preachy, and I wasn't impressed enough with the visuals to be okay with the really cookie cutter story. If you love that movie and you want to call that a bad take, fine, but I don't understand that. I don't understand what I see as kind of dismissing or belittling another person's opinion because you don't agree with it. So there's a difference between coming back and saying, I'm not with you, here's why, and trying to discredit a person because they don't have your opinion. That's the thing that irritates me, and that that I have kind of a difficult time with. Obviously, I shouldn't do this job if I can't take that. So, like, I can take it, whatever. If when people have said what I think are, kind of silly or not thoughtful things in comments before, I do my best to let it wash off my back. But yeah, so that's how I feel about that. Way of Water, I have no intention of ever seeing. Like, I don't want it. I don't care. I don't have any intention of ever watching that movie.
I saw it. Yeah, it's absolutely the most amazing visual immersive experience I've ever had in a theater. But I wish he would use the technology to tell less archetypal, generic stories I've heard a million times before.
Yeah,
that's my review.
And
amazing.
That's what I've heard. I don't need to see that.
If you can't see it in IMAX 3D, don't see it, because that's the whole point. And
we'll see. There you go. And I can't,
awesome.
So I'm never gonna see that.
It's so good. Like,
I feel discriminated against. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It's like everything. Like, yeah, it's like when you go to Universal Studios and ride the screen rides, and those like blow your mind. This is like, it's like way better than those. Like the best version that those can be. But like, I just like. Well, there was nothing to talk about afterwards or think about. It was just kind of like, yeah, it's generic. It was fine, but I'll be there in 2024 to see the next one, because it's just the experience I can only have every couple of years. But I'm not going to buy it. I'm never going to watch it again, like outside of the theater.
Yeah,
it's more of an experience. It's like it's like a ride. It's cool. It's a cool thing on its own, but it's not like it's not going to be on the shelf anytime soon.
Senior Six says we have the Patreon cap to see Way of Water. Yeah, I'm not. That's a request I won't even take, because if DJ's right and the only reason to see that is in 3D, like, I physically can't. So what's the point? Like,
yeah, it's a bummer.
Let me read a couple comments real quick, DJ, and then we'll take a break. Sorry, I saw a couple things that I wanted to mention. Good Old Gamer, we used to be able to agree to disagree back before the internet, and Good Old Gamer also said now we have echo chambers, and that's of course a lot of the problem. And when you only surround yourself with people and ideas that you agree with, and then something gets through the cracks and you thought everybody was the same and expected everybody to be the same, that understandably is like a shattering disillusionment. And it's so easy these days to immerse yourself in your own little world, more than it ever has been. Mm-hmm. And I think we all owe it to ourselves to find excuses to challenge our beliefs and our opinions about things, and surround ourselves with people that don't think just like we do. Like-minded is not the same thing as thinks exactly the same way I do on everything. You know what I mean? Like when I say I want to surround myself with like-minded people, I mean people that are thoughtful and give people the benefit of the doubt, and will give you a chance to explain yourself, and like want to actually have I don't know, like thoughtful debate about stuff, and also people that just like some of the same things I do. That's like-minded. Like-minded is not clone of myself, and I think too many people are looking for clones of themselves.
I think the internet has also, not just the echo chamber thing, I think the internet has also completely ruined our ability to have healthy confrontations, healthy debate. Like,
dude, I'm terrified of confrontation now, and
like,
I hate that about myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm to a point where, and again, I'm just calling it like I'm seeing it these days, guys. Here's an example. I will say a thing now I wouldn't have said last week, DJ. I have lost enough friends over my like politics or lack thereof, and over conversations we've had just through text. Like, I'm paranoid about text conversations now. Like, I'm scared to text a thing that I'm afraid somebody might misconstrue and think I'm angry with them when I'm not, or to just go to a person and say, I'm not happy with you about this thing, let's talk it out. Like, I'm not good at that anymore, and I didn't used to have as much of a problem with it.
Yeah, and that's not
good.
To any relationship, you have to be able to have healthy confrontations, because if you just bottle everything up, it's terrible. That's not how you do it. And the anonymity of the internet has just made everyone just yell at each other and scream at each other because there's no consequences, and no one knows how to state their feelings and opinions in a healthy way. It's frustrating.
Yeah, and because we're watching people, lose friendships and careers and things over, things they say, like on the internet or otherwise, and it immediately makes you recede into yourself and makes you not want to speak your mind and call it like you see it, and like conform to the whatever you see, you perceive as what's expected of you. And like, I was always kind of bad about caring too much about what people think of me, and like I'm way worse about that now. And I don't like that about myself. And yeah, I blame the internet. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's tough. But
and it doesn't help that the people that we know in real life, we communicate with too much the same way we communicate with like dossiers of people, or not dossiers, what's the word I'm looking for? Avatars. Ways of water. No. Avatars with people online that we may not ever actually meet in person, right? It would be a lot healthier if we could, and I don't mean that you should only talk to people face to face, but like more of that would be good. If you could actually rely on like facial expressions and body language and all the ways that for thousands of years we learned to communicate. And now we're down to like instant faxes we send each other, and it really does cloud the way you look at people. Like, I feel like I'll go this far. We're off the rails now. I have like pictures in my head of people differently the way they text with me versus in person. Like, if I text with a person too long, I start to get this like clouded image of them where they're like almost a mutated version of themselves until I finally see them in person again, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, that's what you're like.
Oh wow. Well, I can't wait to hear what the mutated version of me looks like in your head.
No, he's an a-hole.
Oh, he's the worst.
Yeah, he's the worst. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's go ahead and take a, I don't know, like 3-minute break. How long is this music I'm gonna play? 3 minutes. We're gonna take a 3-minute break and throw in some more questions if you have them, and we'll be right back, everybody. All right, folks, we're back for the second half of the Captain Logan show. We are doing nothing but Q&A now for the remainder of the show, and we've got a super chat goal tonight. I want to do a fun video next month for Black History Month, the thing I've wanted to do for a long time. I want to count down my 10 favorite black voices, probably, maybe black actors entire. I haven't decided yet, but I think it's voices of black actors that I think sound the coolest. And if we hit an $80 goal tonight, I'm going to finally make that video that I've been threatening for years, but have been too afraid that that will somehow offend somebody. And I'm done being afraid about that. I'm just going to make that video because it sounds like fun to me. And I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. Hopefully it doesn't bother anybody for some reason, but I kind of want to do it. So, yeah, if we hit that, that's what I'm going to do tonight, or that's what I'm going to do next. I'm not going to do it tonight. I got other things to do tonight. But, yeah, we are at $18 right now, and if you are so inclined, put in a super chat and help us get toward that goal. But if not, leave pre-written questions, and we'll get to as many of those as we can as well. And you can ask us about anything under the sun within reason, you know, mostly like pop culture and geeky stuff. Otherwise, people might be looking at their watch. But it's up to you. And, DJ, why don't you throw another one at us if you see anything interesting? And if not, I'll just look at my watch until you do. I'm not wearing a watch.
You want me to go back to pre-written?
I'm gonna do the 2023 version of that, and I'm gonna stare at my phone.
You're throwing a wrench in the show. All right, let me see. Let me go back and see. There's a lot of questions about food at the beginning of the show.
Oh, all right, sure. Let's do that. Let's get as benign as possible. Go ahead.
Dataverse wants to know favorite afternoon snack.
Oh, a favorite afternoon snack? Right now, it's kind of a tie, but I've been eating a lot healthier lately, DJ, and it's been either peaches or I eat a lot of fruit. I eat a lot of peaches, or it's crackers and hummus.
For hours.
Crackers and hummus.
Crackers and hummus. Crackers and hummus. Good choice. Good choice.
That's gonna be the name of my autobiography when I'm like old and boring.
Peaches and hummus.
Peaches and hummus. Millions of peaches and hummus. Peaches and hummus for free. Okay, what else you got?
Code Anime Fan. Do you guys collect VHS tapes? I remember Cap saying he was planning on collecting superhero movies on VHS. What's the update, Cap?
I have thanks for that. Yeah, I have a small stack of superhero VHS and a few things from when I was a kid that are in a box somewhere. I don't know where they're at. I've still got the Turtles 1990 movie in a box someplace, and my 89 Batman VHS, I don't know where that is, but I have the beta tape. I know where that is. Isn't that weird?
That video was glorious. The chaos in the middle of that video was my favorite thing of all time. He just starts like wandering off in the middle.
Oh, well, that doesn't have anything to do with beta.
Well, true. It just reminded me of that other.
But yes, we did just do a video about Laserdisc, and I don't have 89 on Laserdisc either. I really want to get that. But no, you're right. That was amazing. Adam, 6 minutes into that video, I'm trying to do a lead-in and like naturally segue us into the next shot, and he just starts walking off while I'm talking to the cave. It was amazing. Adam, what are you doing? Have you forgotten how to make videos? And I just went off on him.
It was wonderful. Go check it out if you haven't. Laserdisc video. It's great.
That was a lot of fun. Anyway, so yeah, I don't have a large VHS collection right now. Jason has actually been actively collecting VHS lately himself, though. We went to a thrift store the other day, or no, not a thrift store. Where were we? Was it a vintage stock? I think, yeah, in an area of the city that we don't go in very often. So we found a vintage stock we'd never been to. If you're not in the know, that's like a used and new. It's a chain of stores that sells vintage merchandise and a lot of media and movies, video games, that kind of thing. And anyway, we have several of those in the area. They're kind of like what Hastings used to be, except they also sell used. And so he found DJ a bunch of Disney clamshells in like immaculate condition, like some of the cleanest videotapes I've ever seen. Like nobody ever put them in a player apparently. Like they look fantastic. A lot of the clamshells were perfect, had no cracks or anything in them, which is really impressive. Like 25, 30 years later, and he bought all those for $3 a piece, which for VHS, unless it's something really rare, is kind of steep. But the only things that a lot of people will pay any money for at all are Disney clamshells. So $3 a piece, that was pretty good. So he got a big stack of those. And so, yeah, we actually have been collecting VHS a little bit more lately, and I have mine currently hooked up to my Batman CRT TV, which is right next to us. So I have some really old-school, non-digital stuff sitting right here. I've got a GameCube hooked up to this TV. Hey, in case you didn't see that video, here's the remote for that television. It's amazing. It's shaped like a batarang, and it looks like a game controller. It's like, have you ever done this to change channels? It's crazy.
No, it should make that sound.
I love it. Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
I don't collect VHSs, but we went to that arcade while you were here.
It could be a fidget spinner.
That would be great. Sorry. We went to that arcade while you were here, Cap.
Yeah.
And they had the giant wall that was made of VHS tapes, like real VHS tapes. They had just taped to the wall. I have a picture of you in front of it. I should send that to you. You could post that to the channel. But,
yeah, would you?
Yeah, sure. That was cool.
I forgot all about that, because don't you remember I was like, oh man, I'm stealing this idea. We're going to do it in the bunker.
Yeah.
Now I want to do that. Yeah, I forgot all about that, because we have a wall we need to build right here, and it would be nuts if we did it out of VHS tapes. You'd have to do it in such a way, though, where you could put a door in it. I don't know how easy that would be.
Hey, I mean, you can accomplish anything. To those who possess the great power, all things are possible.
Yeah, if you set your mind, sorry, and I know you're not a Back to the Future guy, but the first thing I thought of was that, if you set your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. Anyway.
All right, let me go to Mutale's third super chat of the night. What would actors set to play you guys in a Geekvolution biopic need to do to portray you accurately? Well, I need to sit home in dark rooms for hours and hours and talk to no one. That's all I do. That'd be perfect.
Well, I thought you were describing me, really. Like, I don't know, it's not that dark down here. Like, you'd expect us to have less light in here. You would need to, I was gonna say, like, watch ridiculous amounts of both Star Trek and Power Rangers. But, some actors are really good at portraying an obsession or a fandom without knowing anything about it. So I guess you wouldn't have to do that if it was on the page. Mm-hmm. What would you have to do? You'd have to get surgery to mess up your eyes.
Gosh, that's some Jared Leto level acting.
No, we'll just CG that after the fact. That'll be all right.
Yeah, you just have to makes everyone push you around in a wheelchair because you can't see. That would be Jared Leto.
You know what's funny though? I'm just going for superficial stuff right now because it's funny, by the way. Don't you think, or isn't it amusing that now if somebody were to play me, you'd actually have to go through hours in a makeup chair to get my tattoos right? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I actually have made it so that a person would have to go through that if they wanted to play me with short sleeves. They just wear long sleeves the whole time. I do that most of the time anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
What do you think a person would have to do to play me though? They'd have to get my stutter down, I guess.
I never thought of it as a stutter. I think of it more of just thinking, just how naturally people think before they speak. I don't know. I guess I'm
real self-conscious about it.
Yeah, I've listened to you forever, so I don't think of it as a stutter. That's just your speech pattern to me.
Yeah, you'd have to learn to speak from the diaphragm.
Yeah, you do have a way of speaking that they'd have to learn. You have a cadence.
Yeah.
That's instantly recognizable now for me and all of us who've been watching you for years.
If you don't naturally have a ridiculous amount of energy and you're not just super theatrical for no reason, you'd probably have to drink a lot of caffeine before every take.
That's the big thing is they have to learn how to talk with their hands all the time.
Yeah. A lot of that. Anyway.
A lot of that.
This question's fun. I wanted you to do the whole show on that. Okay, no, moving right along. Go ahead. Thanks for the super chats, guys. We'll get to those in just a minute. We are halfway there, by the way, guys. I might be making this video after all. Thanks so very much. Go ahead.
Halfway there. Mutale, Cap, would you rather be able to
Whoa,
travel?
we're living on a prayer. Oh, real quick, real quick. I got it. Sorry, can I tell a story?
Absolutely.
Sorry. So you started singing classic rock, and I just thought of this. Okay, so, you know the song "White Wedding."
Maybe. I don't. Not by title.
Oh, you don't know "White Wedding"?
You tell the story. I'll listen to it.
It's a nice day for a white wedding. A Billy Idol. So
I probably do if you play it.
I just thought of this because Jason was singing that earlier today, and Jason didn't know that song, but I played it for him a couple weeks ago, and he really likes it now. So he was singing that today, and Billy Idol has some just hilarious, like weird vocal emoting things he does toward the end of that. He's like, wow, and Jason starts doing crazy things with his voice. And anyway. So I played Jason that song a couple weeks ago on Spotify, and I just looked it up by song. So in the search feature, you'll see several other sometimes covers of the same song, and I saw or just other songs with that title, right? And I found a version of White Wedding that predates Billy Idol, and I went, okay, is this a different song called that, or is Billy Idol's song, and maybe I'm the only person on the planet that didn't know this, or is, I was so, I found this so interesting that I almost wanted to sit down and make a video about it until I realized no one will care. But I was like, so I'll mention it here, but I was like...
Well, you have to listen to it, and you can't click away.
I was like, well, wait a minute. Yeah, I mean, you can leave, feel free. It's just that, this is our catch-all show anyway. I'll talk about whatever I want to talk about. But anyway, So I was like, I didn't know that there was a version of the song that predates it. It was Herman's Hermits from the 60s. And it doesn't sound like anything else they ever did, but it sounds shockingly like the Billy Idol song. Billy Idol didn't do very much to it at all. It's that song, and it's sung very much the same way, and I actually think I like it. I think I like the original of that song a little better. But it blew my mind that was a Herman's Hermit song. Of all things, it was crazy. I couldn't stop listening to it. Anyway, I wanted to mention that real quick because I thought it was nuts.
Wow. I really like the Billy Idol song "Dancing with Myself" because the movie Flushed Away, early DreamWorks claymation movie where Hugh Jackman plays a mouse. And the opening of that movie is him running around the house because all the people are gone, and he's just blasting "Dancing with Myself." And very, very, very funny to see Hugh Jackman acting like that. It's
Universe, that's right. He says Hermits were the Beatles' biggest competition to the Beatles for a while, and it's kind of hard. He said Beatles twice, but yes, that's true. Yeah, it's hard to think that was the case, but they did sound a lot like the Beatles, and I liked a lot of their classic songs, but there wasn't a lot to them, and they sounded like early Beatles. But that song is much more complex. There's a lot more going on with it musically, and I'm sure they didn't write it. I'm sure somebody wrote that for them. Maybe not. Maybe they did. But it's crazy because it's so different from anything else I've heard from them. Anyway, but you blew my mind when you said "Flushed Away" was a would you say claymation?
Yes.
I thought that was just computer generated. I didn't realize. I never saw that movie.
It's good. It's a British movie. I always suspected this, but Daniverse, I don't know if he confirms it, but Daniverse also said that it's an Aardman film.
I'm sorry, it's a what?
Aardman film. Aardman Studios, Chicken Run, Wallace and Gromit, Shaun the Sheep.
I didn't know that.
And so it looks like they just released it through DreamWorks, according to Daniverse, which makes total sense because it doesn't seem like their studio at that time. It seems like an Aardman film. But it's funny. It's dry British humor. It's got Hugh Jackman and a bunch of other British actors. One of my favorite things is Hugh Jackman's like, "It wasn't me, I'm just an innocent bystander," and then for the rest of the movie, the henchmen call him Millicent Bystander the whole time because they think that's his name. Anyway, it's a goofy movie. I think you would kind of like the humor of it.
Weird. I never thought to look at that because I just assumed that was probably like a potty humor thing.
No, it's just a British thing. It's funny.
That's crazy. AMC says it's true. Cap often stresses certain words when making a point and makes something that's about a thing. Listen to Cap so often, I've actually caught myself doing it myself. My apologies. All right, moving right along, folks.
All right, Bob the Hun, $5. Actually, excuse me. I did the thing where I check it because I started reading it and then we went on to something else. So let me go back to the one I checked off. Cap, would you rather be able to travel through time or the multiverse?
See, this is the whole reason that DJ has this job, because he's organized and I suck at that. Would I rather time travel or multiversal travel? Wow, that's tough. Can I cheat and say it really depends on what the multiverse actually looks like? Like, what kind of multiverse is it? Because with time travel, I at least know some of what's come before, so I know a little bit more about where I stand with the universe, right, DJ? Like I've got something to latch onto. Like, I can look at history and know something about the past. The multiverse, in the world we live in, I don't know anything about, if there is one. You know what I mean? Like, are there just a few alternate universes? Do they all look like ours but slightly different?
Could you talk to anyone? Would it just be like the one in Everything All at Once, where it's just rocks? Like,
yeah.
That wouldn't be fun. That'd be really boring.
Yeah, exactly. Is it the kind where is it many worlds theory, where everything you do creates a new universe? So I could be in another universe, but the only thing that's different is somebody decided to drink Pepsi instead of Coke one time, and it didn't really affect that much, so everything else is exactly the world I live in, so it's not as interesting. But then if I had the ability to jump to a bunch of different ones, I guess I could figure that out and see some of the more interesting ones. And it also depends on how often I'm able to do it and what the rules are. Yeah, I don't have enough information to answer this, but I think just based on not knowing, it's time travel. But if I knew for sure what alternate dimensions were like, and there were some really cool, interesting ones, that is what I would pick. Because one thing, and I wrote about this in my first novel, which was a multiversal thing. I'd love to go to a universe, and this actually came up on the show I did with Jason this afternoon, DJ. I would love to go to a universe where I was born female and see what she's like, because I just want to know. So like things like that, I would be
just have maybe a Loki relationship with yourself.
No, because that's weird and messed up, and I don't care what anybody says. That's incest, but it just is.
Oh yeah, Ian McKellen is the villain in Flushed Away. I forgot about that.
Oh, that's crazy.
He plays a frog, or is he the Toad? I think he's Toad. Yeah, he's Mr. Toad. Anyway,
I'm sure they did that because of X-Men.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's 2006. That's got to be why.
Because, yeah, they've already had two by then.
Yeah, Jean Reno plays Le Frog, and Ian McKellen plays the Toad. Kate Winslet is Rita. Wow, great cast. Bill Nighy is
Wait. Let me look at this cast list real quick. Why are we still talking about this movie?
Andy Serkis is Spike. Oh, he's hilarious. He says his name is Millicent Bystander. That's actually Bill Nighy, who plays Whitey.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Bill Nighy. He keeps showing up and stuff lately.
He's hilarious. He's always great.
And he can also be really creepy and things. Like, occasionally he'll play a bad guy, and he's kind of creepy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just watched David
like
Jones
Pirates
recently. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, moving right along.
Moving right along. There's a second part to that one, probably completely unrelated.
I'm so going to answer it. You don't even know. Go ahead.
And what if Siegel and Schuster?
Siegel and Schuster.
Siegel and Schuster created Spider-Man, and Lee and Ditko created Superman.
Yeah, these kinds of questions always break my brain, because you're talking about things that have to exist before another thing can exist, so I have to try not to overthink it, you know what I mean? Like, you don't get Spider-Man without Superman, so, like, what does that even look like? But just, you know, all things being equal, forgetting influences and stuff, I think they would basically be the same characters that each of those creators made in the first place, just with different powers, right? You would just have a Spider-Man that was weirdly a lot more of like a
an iconic, like, yeah, that would be weird having an iconic Spider-Man. That's a weird
yeah, like a can do no wrong you know, symbol to live up to kind of Spider-Man. He'd be the, well, and also like looking at it from what it was in the first place, weirdly Spider-Man and Superman are not quite as far off when it starts, just because he's a lot more of a like a street level crusader kind of character like Spider-Man is, but he's a lot more no nonsense, and he's obviously not a kid, and he is, You know what I mean? He's a lot more of a social creator, so a social crusader, and so you have that. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to see a Fleischer cartoon, like a 8 episode, like Fleischer style Spider-Man cartoon, which is kind of what that 60s show is. He's cracking jokes here and there, but he's an adult in that, and he's a little bit more serious. So they're a lot closer together back then. I guess
Yeah,
we were
that's
thinking
right.
like nowadays
Yeah, now.
they're so different, but they were closer back then.
But we're
actually.
talking about at the time they were each created, right? So then if Stan Lee creates Superman, just imagine Stan Lee. No, we're not talking about that one. If Stan Lee creates Superman, then it's probably gonna basically just look like Invincible, without all the violence.
Didn't he do like Stan Lee's Superman? Didn't you review that comic on the
Yeah,
channel
that's
at
what I
some
was
point?
just alluding to when I said that. Yeah,
Okay.
the Just Imagine series. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, you can just check that out. You'll see what he would have done with it.
Sure, but then that's not what he'd actually do because that's again I get in the weeds with this. That's after
Yeah.
like decades of influence and becoming a different person, and he's making that stuff up in the 90s,
Yeah.
early 2000s,
Very different person than he was in the 60s, obviously.
and the world is a very different world. But yeah, I thought about going through all those. I think I don't know if I did like a recommend on that, or I don't know why I would have recommended that. I don't know if I did that, or if I just or if I actually reviewed it. But I thought about going through all those on the vault at some point.
Bob the Hun, $5. Has not Spawn Year affected how you view how old comics were written versus modern comics? Modern counting 2000s comics and the style we still use.
Yeah, I know what he's talking about. He's been leaving a lot of comments about this. To be honest with you, no, not really, because I already kind of held to the opinion that we've gotten too caught up in the formulaic 6-issue comic arc, and that I think in one of the comments he blamed Bendis for this to some degree. I do as well. The kind of, and I love Bendis, but much of the time. But you've got like the decompression that happens when you're writing to trade as opposed to single issue comics. We've lost the art of telling a self-contained beginning, middle to end story in 22 pages, and some of that is writing to trade. Some of that is because the conventions have changed such where you're expecting a lot fewer words on a page and things to look more cinematic and to have more on-screen pacing, which tends to speed up an issue and make it feel like you didn't get enough bang for your buck when you spend $3, $4, these days $5 on a comic, and it took you 4 seconds to read it. So yeah, it hasn't changed my opinion on it. It's just made me appreciate going back to that a lot, where I'm like, oh yeah, like there was a sweet spot here in the 70s and 80s especially, where you had a bit of both. We had these long runs where you could very often jump in and out of any issue and still understand the gist of what was happening, even if it was part of a larger story, and still feel like you got, if not a self-contained adventure, enough of a singular piece that it was worth your money, and you wouldn't feel like you lost anything or too much by not looking at the next issue. So yeah, like I already held to all of those opinions. It's just really nice to be reminded of it going back to all of that, because it's been a while since I've read very much from those periods.
All right, Goofster 123, $5. Have you seen the trailer for 65 with Adam Driver? Very curious if it's as fun as Jurassic House.
No, I've not. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either. Is it a bunch of dinosaurs in an auction in a house? Probably not.
Yeah, but we need more of that in our lives. We need a whole movie that is seriously just like Jurassic Auction House. I would take that whole movie.
That whole franchise. Do a trilogy.
We need more auction movies in general. When was the last time you saw a movie that took place in an auction? When was the last time you saw? Hold on. I'm gonna give you a caveat. When was the last time you saw a movie that took place in an auction that wasn't all white collar people with paddles?
Um, it's not a movie, but it might as well have been Hawkeye Disney Plus show.
But that was a paddle auction.
It's true.
That was
It
that kind
was
of
it
auction.
wasn't a dino option.
Yeah, but like I'm just so I grew up in auction houses, and I just realized. And I miss them, by the way. I miss going to auctions. Where, dude, I went to a lot of auctions that would sell certainly expensive and valuable things. But I went to an auction in a like tiny town up in the mountains in Arkansas with like 1,500 people or less, DJ, where they're auctioning like bread and toilet paper, and like it was great. Like they'd auction anything. You never knew what was going to show up there. That's how some of these people are getting their groceries into eating. They're like, if I go to the auction, I don't have to get off the mountain this week. But I just realized I don't think I've ever seen a movie that had a scene in a like collectibles auction that wasn't like like a really rich auction that takes place in like a barn, like a barn kind of auction. I don't know that I've ever seen that in a movie.
I don't know. There's probably a very specific category on Netflix called barn auction movies.
Well, and I know I'm in the minority here. I don't know if anybody else in the audience has ever been to one of those. And not just barns, but like I don't know, like big metal buildings and that kind of thing. I'm from the South. That kind of thing is pretty prevalent down there, or used to be. And it just I don't know that I've ever seen a movie that had one.
Well, Superhero Rewind the movie's got to have a barn auction in it.
Somehow we're gaining and not losing viewers, and I don't understand that. Moving right along.
Chewbacca's Lover, $10 super chat.
Thanks very much. What's up?
I've heard it said people lost friends over disagreements in every decade, that it only seems worse because of the internet, that Vietnam and the Civil War were more divisive than anything now.
Even if that's true, it doesn't make it suck less on a personal level. You know what I mean? Like that's not even an argument that I find it with respect that I can be sure is really worthwhile to have or is very constructive. Like if the internet is dividing us or like all the things that divide us, right? Like political and business corruption, et cetera, et cetera. And you go back to periods like World War II, and you have to come up with a point where the whole world was at war before you can find a place where we're as or more divided than we are now. Something wrong is happening. Like that's that's bad. If we're dismissing it and going, yeah, I mean we're a little divided now, but it was worse when everyone was at war.
Yeah, the internet's not bad.
No. We're just blaming it on it's just the internet. Yeah, well, you know what? If the internet, I'm sorry, DJ. If the internet is as bad as World War II, I'm going to get off of it now. Like,
yeah, and
why say that? In some ways, I think maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, he put in another super chat afterwards. Don't know if I agree with that or not, but I thought it was interesting. I also relate to Cap's anxiety about confrontation or even disagreement.
No, I agree with you. I think it's interesting in that, in some ways, this thing that is supposed to make our lives more convenient and make it easier for people to communicate and make money and so many other things, is also this huge growing pains period, and hopefully not like the demise of us, but like this huge weird social transition maybe that we're making that is as rough as certain war times. Yes, that is interesting.
2 wars?
Yeah, but I'm sorry, what was the right social anxiety?
Yeah, he shares your anxiety about confrontation and even disagreement.
Thanks, yeah. No, yeah, it's difficult to even disagree with things because I feel like a lot of people, and I don't want to generalize, and I don't want to be a hypocrite when I say this. What I was going to say is, I feel like a lot of people are very quick to judge and make assumptions about why you think things that you think. Where if you say this buzzword or you believe this thing, you must be in this camp. We put you in this box, and no matter what you say after that, because there's a pattern that we've noticed or people have told us. This is what you're supposed to think of people that say this thing. We're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. We're not going to let you explain yourself. We're not going to ask any follow-up questions. It makes it difficult not to get paranoid. And it makes it difficult not to. And so I guess what I'm saying is I want to give people the benefit of the doubt and assume that everybody is thoughtful until they give me a reason not to think that, DJ, because I'm complaining that people aren't doing that. But because of the patterns I'm seeing, it's also difficult not to, like I said earlier, recede into yourself and not do that and go, well, if I say this thing, then somebody is liable to come out and think the wrong thing about me and assume that I mean this thing. And I'm like things I'm saying people are going to misconstrue. Okay, but if I'm doing that, then I'm not actually giving people the benefit of the doubt myself.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't want to live that way. That's why I'm trying not to live that way. But I think it's kind of dangerous too.
Yeah. I have a film that I just watched this week, and it is my absolute favorite film of 2022. I loved it. It's amazing. But nothing I am about to say about it is going to make you want to watch it at all. But I think you should, because it is a Martin McDonagh film who has never made a bad film. Same director who did Seven Psychopaths, In Bruges, Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. He did another film this year, and I was so excited about it. And it's the same two. You loved In Bruges. It's the same two leads as In Bruges. It is Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson.
I'm sorry. Can you remind me what that movie was? I know I've seen that.
In Bruges, you did it on Netflix Roulette with Eric. It's the two hitmen in Ireland.
I'm vaguely remembering this.
You really liked it on
Okay,
Netflix Roulette.
okay.
I promise. But it's the same two actors. It's Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, and they've been lifelong friends, and they live on this tiny little island in Inisherin. It's called the Banshees of Inisherin. And one day...
Oh, yeah, Daniverse beat you to it, man.
Yeah. One day he wakes, the Brendan Gleeson's character wakes up and just decides he doesn't want to be friends anymore. He doesn't like him anymore. He's getting too up there in years. He doesn't want to just sit around and talk about nonsense anymore and drink. He wants to work on his music and do something with his life, and he just cuts him off. And the other guy can't handle it. It's a tiny little town. He's kind of like his only friend, and it's a beautiful movie. It's a really, really dark movie. It's a hilarious movie. I love Martin McDonagh's sense of humor. It's his dark comedy. My wife and I were dying. Such a good movie. Might be a little hard for you to watch. I don't know, but I recommend everyone check it out in the comments. It's my favorite movie. It topped Everything Everywhere All at Once. It topped Pinocchio from Guillermo del Toro. It's such a good movie.
You're doing a great job of selling it, though. And that sounds like something I probably should see. Where did you see it?
It is on HBO Max right now.
Okay. All right. I will definitely consider watching that. If I can find some time to watch things I'm not reviewing right now because I'm doing way too much at the moment. But yes, I even though you're saying it will depress me, I will try to watch that. I will try to do it.
It's great.
Yes, that movie is coming back to be Slate. I do remember really liking that. I don't remember a lot of what happens in it. AMC, mutual respect is the key. There you go. See, I rely on these guys to articulate things that I'm trying to say better than I'm saying them. That's exactly right. Let's just assume that people don't have your worst interests at heart and that everybody's not a racist or sexist bigot until they give you actual real cause. And I mean, like, with things they do, not random off-the-cuff things that they happen to say. And yes, things people say matter when there's like a huge pattern of insane, crazy stuff. But I don't know. Let's move on. Go ahead, DJ.
Oh yeah, and Mutale says Carrie Condon is Better Call Saul, or as Saul's daughter-in-law, or Mike's daughter-in-law from Better Call Saul.
Oh,
and she's also in Banshees of Inisherin.
She's great in that.
She's the main second lead. She's Colin Farrell's sister in that.
Okay, well
She's wonderful.
that's another selling point to get me to watch it because I liked her a lot in that show. I wished she had a little more to do, but I don't know what else she would have done in that show. Like, it was the right amount of screen time, but I thought she was a good actress.
Cool. Yeah. Well, yeah, I love her in that. It also has Barry Keoghan in it, who is the new Joker, who is hilarious, and he's always great in everything I've seen him in that wasn't the Batman. He's in the Green Knight also, and he's wonderful. Anyway, Mutale, 35 African Rand. Who's the weirder director choice for a character, Waititi with Thor or Snyder with Superman? And how long can Marvel and DC keep their characters young?
I'm gonna say on paper, it's Waititi with Thor. Why would you want to make that why would your answer to people think the Thor movies are boring, how do we spice it up a bit, be let's make it a farce with no script, with no plan or purpose?
Which is, I don't know, because I haven't seen his other movies. I don't know if he'd made farces before that. I don't know if they knew that's what they were getting.
Well, that's fair, and I mean, I don't think Warner's expected exactly what they got with Snyder. So that's a fair point. You're right. I'm basing that on what I've heard about other movies he's made. Not that they're as like it sounds like he makes a lot of whimsical comedies, but they're maybe planned a bit more than, and they're not they're not all like Paul Feig movies, where it's like just put a camera on a person and let them ramble. Like Paul Feig's directing this right now. But with Snyder, I think there was actually an understandable reason that maybe that Warner's gave him that, or at least another superhero thing. Not keys to the kingdom. I've said this a lot. Not like let him show run the universe. I don't get that, and it's a little bit of an odd choice for Superman, given that he was known for mostly really violent, edgy kind of stuff. But if I've said before, if you could just take his directing style and have a good script, and he wasn't involved too much in the plotting, the storytelling, it might have made sense to have that. But I still think on paper that makes more sense than the Ragnarok thing. Didn't ultimately at the end of the day, but
yeah. Adrian,
that was a really good question.
Yeah. Great question. The second part of it was how long can Marvel and DC keep their characters young?
Marvel and DC?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Marvel's not trying to keep their characters young. If we're talking about movies. Or maybe we're not talking about movies. Maybe we're just talking about comics.
Maybe. He just says Marvel and DC, so...
Yeah. I mean, if you mean that, like, we're slowly aging characters up in comics, so, like, naturally at some point they would get a lot older, I mean, I don't agree with that, because we tend to, I mean, sorry, I'm not actually sure what question I'm supposed to be answering right now, so I'm going to do this version of it. The movie one, I think, is a great deal more obvious, where it's like, well, Marvel will let characters age for a while until the actor wants to retire, or until they've decided to write them out, and then they'll just pass mantles on. That's how they've chosen to do it. DC, I think... under Gunn, is very likely to just recast whenever actors don't want to do it anymore and stay in the same continuity. That's what I hope they'll do, assuming I like the continuity and I don't want it to be rebooted like I did DCEU. As far as comics go, we've had Batman for 80 years, we've had Spider-Man and X-Men for 60 years. You can keep like perpetually the same age for too long while you have a generation of fans growing up with them is sometimes a mite tougher, I guess. And so with cases like Spider-Man, you'd have a character that started as a teenager, you let him get to a certain age because it was by its nature supposed to kind of be a novel or a series of novels and a character that really does age in real time, and ultimately that didn't, or sort of, and that didn't really work out. But at some point we're going to age him back. That's always going to happen. So the answer is forever, but like it's cyclical.
He clarified he did mean in comics, so you nailed it.
Okay, well that's my answer. Moving on.
Adrian Reyna Martinez, $9.99. Happy to see y'all streaming again.
Thanks
My
so much.
question,
Appreciate it.
how do y'all feel about AI art? I personally want to fight anyone who uses it. Also started collecting comics again. What are some grails you have, Cap?
DJ, would you please field this first? You've heard about this whole thing, yeah?
Oh yeah, gosh, can't stop seeing it in my I think people flooding their stupid feeds with it is even more annoying than the technology itself. Like, stop. No one cares. You didn't do anything. You just pushed a button and changed your picture. Like, come on. I know
I
it's
have
cool
heard a
for
little
you.
bit
I
about
understand.
this, but for people that haven't heard what's going on with this, with AI generated art and people being able to just press a button and make art, would you set this up a little bit and then give me your opinion about it as an artist yourself?
You can basically type in an artist's style and a picture of you, and it will make a painting of you in that artist's style. It's insane. Like it's so. Have you like looked at it at all? Like
I
you could
haven't
do
yet, but
crazy things with it.
we're not even talking about like expensive software. We're talking about just a website you can go to and right.
Yeah, like there's apps now and everything. Like
And then
it's
people are just putting these things on DeviantArt and other places and calling them theirs. And the problem is people are trying to profit off of it. And so there's a huge debate happening now about whether, and we had to have known this was inevitable, but there's a debate now happening about whether or not people should be able to profit off of that, and if it counts as real art, and if you press the button, you own the art. That kind of, I mean, it's getting preposterous. It really is Terminator, at least in the at least in the media scheme. But like this is also like eventually going to happen with music and everything. Like it's legitimately scary.
yeah, it sucks. I mean, as an artist, that's my living. Like we already hate it when there's these software like oh, someone let me know in the comments. What's that stupid software that everybody uses that's not Photoshop, that's like a free Canva? Canva, it's got like a million templates. It's got all this stuff. You just put text in and it just makes designs for you. And they look terrible, but everyone uses it because it's free. And like nobody wants to hire designers anymore because they can just do it themselves in Canva. And like my whole industry is in trouble. Like, I mean, developers are the same way. Like there's these software that'll spit out code and it's crappy code and it causes much problems, but it works enough for people to use it. So like, I don't know. It's scary. I hate that these things exist. I'm not a fine art artist. Like this is not directly related to me, but it's all connected. Like just having computers do things. And I mean, it's the same thing as like the U-Scan, the self-checkout at grocery stores taking people's jobs away. Like it's that same argument, but just for art. But art is obviously more important than that.
Yeah,
like art is.
but I think, I mean, it sucks that. Sorry, I have a lot of thoughts. It sucks that people lose jobs, but there's the argument that that's always the price of progress, and the question is just how far do we want to allow that line to go, right? Like you could make this argument going all the way back to the Industrial Revolution. Should we have let certain machines into factories? We had to lay people off in order to do that. Yeah, but it's safer to let the machines do it. You don't have people losing their arms now. You don't. I mean, that still happens, I'm sure, but less frequently. So there's safety concerns, and then there's productivity concerns, that sort of thing. So like I've heard this argument with the checkout thing because that bothers me too, and then people will say, yeah, but you're always going to have some level of new automation, and somehow the scales always balance out, and there's always new jobs that will show up, I guess magically, for people that used to do that job. And I say, yeah, maybe not. Like, how do you know that? How far can we push this line? When art itself can be automated, when cars drive themselves and you don't need truckers. I'm just talking about all of these things compounded upon themselves. Get 10, 20, 30 years down the line when you don't need doctors to go through medical school. You don't need lawyers to go to law school because we've got computers that can do all those things. 20 years ago, that would have sounded preposterous. How can a computer do those things? Yeah, we're getting close. We're going to get to the place where computers can do literally anything a human being can do. And where are we going to draw the line? Or if we don't draw a line, how are we going to A, make sure that people can support themselves, and B, make it so that people don't become the idiots in the future of Wall-E? Yeah?
Yeah. Just join the Criterion Collection. It's very topical. Everybody watch Wall-E again. Yeah, man, it sucks. I mean, it's especially sad for art, I think, because like when you got films being written by AI and like they're talking about in the comments, like none of these artists signed up for their styles to be completely ripped off. It's just they just steal it. I don't need to pay this artist to do a really cool illustration of me anymore. I can just push a button and there it is, and that guy's losing work. Like,
Well, and you said, yeah, that's a really good point, Adrian. Thanks. And that's also, well, and you said it's not directly related to what you do. Maybe not yet, but people are going to be able to do this with logos and everything.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I don't do that anymore. I do user interface and user experience design. There's always going to be a need for like research and humans figuring out the best way to create a website, but there is a lot of the interface that's built for you now. It does take a lot of the. That's why you got to get into the user experience side, because the just purely visual side is being running us out of town, putting us out of business.
I didn't realize it was that bad already. That's why I never fully understood, and I guess I still don't. I didn't fully understood, sorry, I'm gonna speak English now. I don't know what I was speaking. It was I had a joke. Whatever. I was what is that? What is that made up language? That
Latin?
No. I mean, all languages are a made up language, but anyway, I get Shatner made a movie in it. I can't remember what it's called now. Esperanto. I'm speaking Esperanto. I guess I didn't fully understand what your current job was versus what you used to do.
Yeah. I mean, I always my first job out of college was in marketing and a more design related job. But right after that, I went into user experience design, which is designing websites and apps and e-commerce, stuff like that. Stuff where you have to figure out my brain works better that way, where you're actually figuring out the best way to do something instead of just like, it's art, whatever. Like there's no wrong answers. Like there is a right answer in user experience design and e-commerce, because you have the facts and you have the like statistics and what works best, and you can do that. So my brain works better that way. I have an analytical brain. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah, it's not subjective like art is. But you still, as an artist, just with like the graphics you've done for the channel, the graphics I've seen you do for other projects, like you've got a personal style. And
yeah.
there's a computer that could now make a thing that I might not be able to tell was not made by you. And that's kind of scary. And that's tantamount to putting a CG character in a movie instead of an actor when we eventually get to the place where we finally have facial expressions with those characters where you can't tell that it's not a human being. Like that's really scary. Why are we going to need people anymore? And that's why
what the machines will tell us.
Yeah.
We'll figure out, why do we need people anymore?
Well, and that's where I think it's worse than even the automated counter at the grocery store. And don't get me wrong, I would prefer to bring back the human experience. You know, if there's a person behind the counter that will actually talk to me and doesn't just put his head down the whole time and doesn't want to have any sort of conversation or anything, won't even communicate. You know what the new thing is now? You'll go through a line, and I don't mean to sound like a prude. I'm not putting down everybody that does that job. Much the opposite. I want those folks to do a good job and prove that the human experience is better than the robotic experience. And I've done jobs like that, and you can make or break somebody in a fragile mood's afternoon by being kind to them or being a dirtbag, right? And the new thing is somebody behind the register knows that they're doing a job that is now done by robots, so they don't even tell you what your total is anymore. It just brings out, it says 1080 on the cash register, and I'm supposed to just pull out my money and hand it to them. And I used to wait until they said that'll be 1080. Some people don't even say it anymore. You just stand there like, I don't. A person like says no words to you whatsoever. I'm like, I don't know why I came to the person instead of the computer when the computer's right over there.
Yeah, I'm terrible. I never go to the person. I always go to self checkout these days. I spent like $110 yesterday at the grocery store, and I still went to self checkout. I was like, I don't want to deal with someone. I'm just gonna put all my stuff in these 4 little bags that I have. I'm gonna cram it all into 4 bags.
Guys, we're nearly at 2 hours, and I'm gonna need to go pretty soon. I know DJ does too. We're gonna do last call for super chats. We'll stay for another 5 minutes or so, and so like I said, last call for super chats, and we are $30 away from the goal if anybody wants to get us there. So I'm going to give you one last shot at that. And if we hit the $80 goal, like I said, I will do a top 10 list in February during Black History Month for my favorite black actors with cool voices. That's probably the video I'm making.
It's a very specific niche.
It is, but it's a thing. It's a thing I've given a lot of thought to. And if I don't hit it tonight, that doesn't mean I'll never make that video. But it may not be this year. I don't know. I will guarantee it if that happens. But otherwise, I don't know if I'll make that this year. Anyway, okay.
The second part of that was he's gotten back into comic collecting and wants to know what some of your grails are, Cap.
Oh yeah, cool. So the first, older and valuable comic that I ever bought when I was, 9 or 10 years old at a flea market was Fantastic Four number 20 with Molecule Man. And, wait, when he says Holy Grail, he means things I wish I had.
I think so.
I'm sorry. I heard that, but my brain processed it wrong.
Yeah, things you're still on the hunt for.
Yeah, I would love first appearance of Barbara Gordon, Batgirl. I think that's like a $500 or $600 comic. That I've had a couple of opportunities to buy, but I wasn't going to drop that kind of money on it. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I would definitely like to get my hands on that. I don't have. I mean, there's some things that aren't impossible to get. Well, this is probably really expensive now too. I actually haven't booked this in a long time. I have a lot of the original Amazing run. I still don't actually have a Death of Gwen Stacy. I don't own that, and I probably should have that. But that's probably also a $500 or $600 comic at this point. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. Wow. I do have some of the really early Galactus stuff, but I love them in nicer condition than the ones I got. So like I have the original Galactus trilogy, or at least 2 of them. I don't know if I have all of it, but I'd love to get some very good defines with those. So there's a few things. Wow. I can't believe I just processed that question wrong.
You nailed it once you were on the right track there. I'm surprised you're able to think of things so quickly like that.
Thanks.
Last one we have right now. Doesn't mean we're getting any better at it.
That's true. Yeah, people say that if you do 10,000 hours at anything, you get proficient to being an expert at it. But what if you did it wrong the whole time?
Yeah, it's not just practice makes perfect. It's perfect practice makes perfect. Now I sound like my dad. I used to say that. All right. In terms, this is from Utali. In terms of adapting.
I want to screenshot the face you had when you said that.
Well, your dad's a martial arts instructor. There's a lot of.
You need to make that your Facebook picture.
There's a lot of little things that come out. Anyway, in terms of adapting a character already done in live action, how do you see MCU faring with Blade, F4, and X-Men compared to MCU Spider-Man?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, they won't have Sony sticking their paws in and mucking it up with those 3. So
that's a really good point. Yeah. I don't know what to expect with them. I have a real wait and see, and I'm hoping for the best kind of attitude with those things. I wanted Fantastic Four specifically in the MCU forever and thought it was a pipe dream and never thought it would happen because I didn't like having Cosmic Marvel without Galactus and Silver Surfer. I thought that was crazy and really kind of unfortunate. And Gunn really did his best developing all of that with Guardians at first, and then MCU down the road with some other things. So I'm I am excited to finally see that whole thing come to fruition. I've not been super impressed with, several of the things they've done recently with Phase 4, and so I guess I'm not. I guess I'm not as stoked about seeing those things finally realized as I might have been when we were in a period where they seemed to maybe not do no wrong, but did a lot less wrong. I feel like MCU and Pixar have been on exactly the same trajectory, where now it's hit and miss. Now it's sometimes they make great stuff, and sometimes I would have been fine without having seen that. I hope I don't have that with any of those things, but I can't give you a better answer than I hope it works. I hope they're good. I hope they don't. I hope that they're definitive. That's the big thing, is that they're as classic as they can be, even though those things have been adapted before. I don't want them to work too hard at trying to be different. I don't want them to look too much at Ultimate again. Let's just let the Fantastic Four be the Fantastic Four and the X-Men be the X-Men, and let the X-Men be called the X-Men, even though there are women on it. We all know what that means. Men with a capital M. We get it. Even if they, do some ethnicity swaps and that kind of stuff, which I'm sure they'll do, I just hope that the characterizations are as off the page as they can be.
Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. Cap wants a green coat Blade. He wants him straight off the page. He wants classic Blade.
Blade's a character that I kind of don't even need to ever see again, because that was handled so well in the first place. I guess it's cool since we're doing, most of all of Marvel, that Blade is going to be in that universe, but, it's not a thing I need, to see that again. X-Men, Fantastic Four, Fantastic Four in particular, but yeah, X-Men could be a lot more off the page, so even though I love movie X-Men, I'd like to see a more comic, faithful adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hope characterization-wise, and also, costumes and stuff.
Yeah. Mutale has run out of questions, and he's just in such a giving mood that he's taking Daniverse's
other people's questions. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up here in a minute. Go ahead.
He gives us another 35 czar super chat to say, Daniverse asked which directors you think should stop writing their own scripts, and if you would have, and completely different, if you would have laser eye surgery if you could afford it.
Yeah, I've answered that one before. Probably not at this point with the laser eye surgery thing. That first question,
I absolutely would. And I'm thinking about it very strongly because I hate putting contacts in every morning. It would be great.
Yeah, I just didn't want to repeat myself too much, but I'll elaborate real quick just to say that and I think I've talked about this before. I have asked eye doctors about this a couple of times, and apparently, because you could do laser eye surgery with my eyes, but to fix the bigger problem, like the lazy eye and the double vision and all of that, there's a more major surgery that you'd have to do. So the laser eye surgery would, I guess, I'd be able to see better to some degree, but it wouldn't fix some of the other problems. So I don't know. I don't know that I would, but the surgery I actually need to get, I wouldn't get, because there's a 50-50 chance apparently that I would wake up with complete double vision. That I would just be permanently cross-eyed. So nope, not doing that. I guess that's not really what you asked, but laser surgery is not all I need, I guess is the point I'm making.
Hey, LASIK Roulette. Sounds like a great series on the channel.
That sounds 50, like a 50. One and done with a lot of suspense.
Yeah, there's a potential that I'm not a good candidate either. One of my eye doctors once told me that I might not be a good candidate because I have really large pupils. For a while, she didn't even have to dilate me when I went to get my eyes checked because they were just that big already. And there's a chance that they can only correct a certain radius in your eye. So if your pupil goes outside of that radius, I would get a blind ring where it wasn't corrected. And so I don't know. I'd have to go in and see.
Is that worth it? Probably not.
Well, they would be able to tell me if I was a candidate before I did it.
Oh, okay.
It's not like I just have to go, well, let's see if it works.
Real quick, what was the first part of that question?
First part was from Daniverse asked, which directors do you think should stop writing their own scripts? Well, Snyder.
Yeah.
You already answered that.
Yeah, I mean that's the big one, and Watiti should either just with the fantastic or the Thor movies that I saw, because I haven't seen his other movies. He should either have somebody else write scripts for him or start writing. Is really the thing with him. Beyond that, I'm trying to think of writer directors. Yeah, Shyamalan maybe. Might be interesting to see Shyamalan finally direct somebody else's script. Like, I get that that's not how he works, but he's put out too many not good movies. Working the way he works, it would be interesting to see him step out of his shell, I think.
Are you going to see his new movie looks weird.
I haven't seen anything about it. No.
It's Dave Bautista.
Oh.
In the wilderness as like this cult that's like coming into this family that's on vacation and telling them that they have to do this sacrifice or the world's going to end. It's crazy.
Oh. I want it to just not be true at the end.
Dave Bautista is just everywhere, man. He's just acting in everything lately. I didn't like Glass Onion at all, but he was in that.
Okay, we've got like one more, yeah?
Yes. Yes, 1, 2. Here we go. Mutale Deniverse also asked if you guys disliked a piece of food solely because of a specific ingredient, and have you seen the Mando Season 3 trailer?
I have not. I'm real behind on the Star Wars stuff and haven't felt real compelled to catch up, so like maybe at some point I'll finally do that. If I hear the thing that says where somebody convinces me, okay, I've really got to watch more of that, I'll go back. But like I like to find, and then I saw the first couple episodes of Boba Fett and was just kind of bored by it. It wasn't bad. I was just kind of bored. And then I actually did want to watch what was that? What was that other show? Why can't I think of it? The most recent thing they put out. The
one that everyone loves. The
Andor.
Yeah.
That looks cool, and I'll watch that eventually, but I haven't gotten to it. People say it's boring, so I'll probably like it. Because it sounds like it might be boring for the right reasons. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. I don't really get the food question. You dislike a food because of a particular ingredient? Like, I mean, if it doesn't taste good, then I don't like it. I don't really...
It was just a typo. Originally, Daniver said, have you ever disliked a food solely because of a specific incident?
Oh, incident.
Says, I remember I couldn't eat pork for years because my dad put too much spice on it once as a kid.
Yes, when I was in junior high, or maybe just before junior high, I ate and really the moral of this story is just don't eat food at public school. I had a chicken fried steak at a public school and threw up, and I've never had chicken fried steak since then. I'll never eat that again. Even to this day, I can't. I don't think I could do it.
Wow.
That's my answer.
Well, we've done it, and we ended on food.
Yeah, that was ended on that note. Okay, so we didn't hit the super chat goal, so I may or may not do that this year. I'm not going to promise it, but and maybe we didn't hit it because people really don't want me to do that. They're like, no Cap, you're throwing you're putting your life in your hands for no reason. Anyway, I'll be back with you on Thursday, and possibly DJ as well. Thanks very much, everybody, though, that did put in a super chat. Really appreciate you guys, and all the pre-writtens, and just being here and hanging out with us and watching. Regardless of how haphazard and all over the place I've been this evening, appreciate you guys. And like I said, I'll be back Thursday with Vince for a Captain Logan show, and tomorrow night I'm going to talk about the Stargate SG-1 pilot with Austin, and join us Friday, too, for a 10 o'clock Central for a blind commentary on what is that movie? The Nintendo movie from 1989, The Wizard.
The Wizard.
That's what we're doing on Friday. Bringing back Video Game Movie Mania. Okay, so 2 hours and 11 minutes tonight was just a little bit much for me sitting in this chair, apparently. And I'm going to go ahead and get going. Thanks for being here. DJ, I appreciate everything you do, man. Thanks so much.
Always a pleasure. Had a blast. See you guys.
You guys are great. And we're going to go now as soon as I rig up the music. Okay, bye, everybody. See you later.
Something.